Alina Mercantile League Headquarters. Exchange Place Tower, New Delhi, Alina, 22 October 3151. The watch left with the Jade Falcons to Terra. The watch has elements everywhere, Marina said. You would be a fool if you thought there was no Jade Falcon watch agents left on Alina. And we have reports that many elements of the watch stayed. They were masking the disappearance of Malvina's Tumen. Could the saboteur be a Clan Jade Falcon watch agent? What advantage would they have in disrupting us? They have every reason. If they are loyal to Khan G.E. Chistu and his pitiful little nest of falcons, it is to their advantage to disrupt us so that they can annex us. If they are loyal to Malvina Hazen and the regime, old, likely dead and gone on Terra, then they could simply want to punish us. Cruelty was policy in Malvina Hazen's falcons, especially with the lower castes, was it not? Half. To say that the future of Clan Jade Falcon at the dawn of the IlClan era is in doubt would be an understatement. With most of the Falcons dead on Terra, those who were left behind or deliberately stayed behind to avoid being wrapped up in Malvina's bad quest have been thrust into a position to try to find a way to survive as the Predators begin to circle around Jade Falcon Occupation Zone planets. One of the surviving groups, the Alina Mercantile League, reflects a radical departure from traditional clan culture and governmental structure. Formed in July of 3151 by Marina, a true-born warrior who was the Clan Jade Falcon merchant factor in the decade before the IlClan debacle on Terra. Savvy and intelligent, Marina was able to keep the clan from going bankrupt even under Malvina's unhinged and chaotic rule. When neither Malvina or word of a Jade Falcon victory returned from Terran space, Marina acted boldly to rally what forces and resources she could and established a new state in the systems surrounding Alina. This matters, as Alina, along with those surviving systems, have key industries that might just guarantee the Mercantile League's survival, even as the Lyran Commonwealth and Clan Hell's horses seek to gobble up the worlds abandoned by the Clan Jade Falcon Tumen. Though a significant number of the League's citizens were formerly of Clan Jade Falcon, only a small percentage of them were from the warrior caste. Many of these warriors were declared Salama troops before Malvina's departure. This has led to a significant shift in power and government away from warriors, and instead, Marina and her allies make the major decisions. But why does any of this matter in a video about the Hyra Falcon, you might ask? Well, one of the products of that vast industrial district on Alina produces battlemechs, specifically Ion Sparrows, HieroFalcons, and Jade Phoenixes. All three of these battlemechs are considered some of the most updated and dangerous battlemechs created by the clan. Maintaining control of these production lines might make it possible for the League to build a domestic defense force that doesn't rely upon mercenaries or begging for help from the likes of G.E. Chistu when the Hell's horses come knocking. Control of these factories also limits competitors for territory, like Chistu himself, from rebuilding his forces. So what's the big deal with the Hyra Falcon? This 45-ton Omni-Mech reflects a dramatic shift among the machines of the Clan Jade Falcon Tumen in the past few decades from a more traditional mainline battle mech like the Hellbringer and Summoner to a faster and more agile design that could close quickly on targets. The aversion to close quarters and melee combat from the 3050s was a distant memory as tales of Jade Falcon Mechwarriors leaping recklessly over the front lines spread widely, much to the horror of Lyran field commanders and Republic planetary defense forces. The Hyra Falcon was packed with the latest in technology in order to maximize its agility and ability to take the fight to enemies before they could react. It fit perfectly with Malvina's Mongol doctrine and was used to great effect up to and including the IlClan trial on Terra. Though you would be forgiven for not knowing it because the Hyra Falcon isn't mentioned even once in Hour of the Wolf, and it isn't in the IlClan sourcebook outside of the technical readout section. Kind of a missed opportunity, but I digress. Built around a Jade Falcon 4 light endosteel frame and a Light Force 270XL engine, the Hyra Falcon saved mass wherever possible at the cost of those precious internal locations. The top ground speed of 97 kilometers per hour is swift, but not necessarily awe-inspiring. The 7.5 tons of compound Jade Falcon ferrofibrous armor is just a half-ton shy from maxing out the possible protection on the mech. If it helps to have a comparison, the Black Lanner, another popular Jade Falcon battlemech, is 55 tons and has just 8 tons of ferrofibrous armor. What really sets the Hyra Falcon apart from its peers in that 45-ton category was the addition of the fixed partial wing. Though the mech doesn't have fixed jump jets, any loadout, including them, would benefit from an additional +2 to the mech's jump distance. As we're going to see with the primary configuration, this pushes the mech's movement profile from a 696 to a 698, which can be a significant game changer. In addition, the partial wing also improves the mech's 10 double heat sinks with a -3 heat each turn within a standard atmosphere. All of that leaves 19 tons of pod space available for weapons and additional equipment. For comparison, the classic Nova Omni-Mech had 18.5 tons before the addition of its 5 fixed jump jets. The Shadowcat, the closest clan 45-tonner in form and function, had 20 tons of pod space before its fixed jump jets were added. The difference here really boils down to that hardwired partial wing at 2.5 tons. So let's talk about loadouts here. The primary configuration for the Hyra Falcon was built around the Hyper Assault Gauss Rifle located in the right arm. It can hit out to 24 hexes and do up to 20 cluster hit table damage. It's one of those weapons that tends to create polarization where people either really like it or don't like it at all, largely because of that distributed damage. If you're not a fan, the primary configuration is probably not for you. 2 tons of ammunition, 12 shots worth, were stuffed into the right torso. That's a limited amount, so Mechwarriors felt pressure to strike quickly, make those shots count, and end the battle before your primary weapon's ammunition hoppers ran dry. Backing up the HAG-20 are a pair of improved medium-heavy lasers located in the left arm. They're definitely shorter range weapons, only able to hit out to 9 hexes, however doing 10 damage apiece could help end a fight on a target that had just been worn down by your HAG-20 shots. There's no to-hit penalty for the improved heavy lasers, but they can still explode when hit, which explains why both the Hyra Falcon's arms have case installed. If you're going to get in close anyway, why not add some target acquisition gear to help guide fire support? Located in the center torso, the tag improved the fire from artillery and guided munitions like the Arrow 4. During the march toward Terra, the Jade Falcons made use of artillery frequently to hammer defensive emplacements and fortresses held by Lyran and Republic troops. While not a min-max choice for the BattleMech itself, it does make sense from the in-universe perspective. Finally, the mech can't get close and cause terror if it dies on the approach, so an ECM suite was added to the left torso. Operation Sneaky Sneak is go. The primary configuration's 10 double heat sinks are only going to be taxed if you're really pushing the machine with full jumps and alpha strikes. If things get really hot, laying off one of the improved heavy lasers for a turn can get you back into the green quickly. Overall, the primary configuration is okay. It really boils down to how much you like that HAG-20. Having 3 weapons that explode when hit, even with the presence of case, is just the kind of high-risk, high-reward choice that I would expect from the late 3140s Jade Falcons. If it's just too much for your risk tolerance, I think one of the alternative configurations will be more your style. If you enjoy setting things on fire, which I know many of you do, the Hyra Falcon Configuration A may be the choice for you. The large pulse laser in the right arm is tried and true, accurate damage, and the ER medium pulse lasers are always good performance in the mid and short ranges for their weight and size. However, in the close range, things start to get interesting. 2 AP Gauss rifles are split between the left and right arms, along with a pair of flamers. Clearly intended to deal with infantry and battle armor, the Configuration A could be nasty in an enemy's backfield, hitting targets of opportunity, logistics lines, and headhunting command units. All of this is aided with a remarkable movement profile of 6, 9, and 10, thanks to its use of improved jump jets in tandem with the partial wing. The Hyra Falcon is the closest a 45-ton battlemech can get to flying, short of being rendered into a land-air mech. The A config is a bit more niche than the primary, but in the right place and the right time, the Hyra Falcon A could be quite devastating. Yucca Valley, North America, Terra, 24 March, 3151. All around her stood a circle of green and gray Jade Falcon battlemechs, most bearing the markings of a diving Jade Falcon holding a katana, the Falcon Guards. They surrounded her fallen Shrike, one of them standing on its crushed right foot. The smell of burned insulation and metal, the smoke of destroyed battlemechs, and of all the carnage of war stung her nostrils. She climbed out and up onto the smashed upper torso of her crumpled battlemech. There was a tall, smoking ring of death and destruction around her Falcon Guards, a heap of fallen Republic mechs and at least 1 tank. In some areas, the mound of blasted mechs was 2 or 3 high. They were heaped upon each other, many almost impossible to identify. The defeated mechs radiated outward from where she stood, a field of death and destruction. When the Republic Old Guard attempted their headhunting attack against Khan Malvina Hazen in a last-ditch strike to snatch victory from inevitable defeat, it was an unexpected opportunity for the Hyra Falcon to shine. As the Old Guard mechs rushed forward toward Hazen's strike, they fired at her mech over closer and more dangerous targets. The Falcon Guard stood in the way. Led by Star Colonel Marv Rushak, the Falcon Guard set up a defensive circle around the Khan, trying desperately to block incoming fire with their own battlemechs. With orders to stand and fight no matter what, one Mechwarrior disobeyed. That Mechwarrior, named Krasen, piloted a Hyra Falcon that broke from the line and leapt forward into the approaching Old Guard mechs. Through fire and fury of a desperate attack, Krasen poured fire into the Republic forces from their flanks. He ignored the furious response from his fellow warriors for breaking the defensive line and instead threw himself into an offensive maneuver. Shot after shot from his HAG-20 and heavy-medium lasers tore through the weak rear armor. The Old Guard mechs were suddenly in a position where their single-minded mission of killing Malvina Hazen was resulting in many of them dying faster than they had hoped for. Eventually, some Old Guard turned to focus on Krasen, but the mobile Hyra Falcon kept on the move, leaping and avoiding incoming fire. Every laser and missile fired in his direction was one less headed toward Malvina's downed strike. Eventually, the HAG ammunition hoppers ran dry, and the mech's partial wing took damage, which made it non-functional. Time was running out for the brave, if impudent, Falcon Guard Mechwarrior. Locked into a desperate brawl with a 70-ton Gallant, Krasen's heavily damaged mech was nearing its doom. The last round of HAG-20 ammunition had damaged the Gallant's MRM housing, and the Republic Mechwarrior was dumping ammunition to prevent a possible ammunition explosion. Seizing upon the opportunity, Krasen made one last leaping rush forward, firing his heavy lasers into the cascading ammunition. The resulting explosion destroyed both the Gallant and ended Krasen's rampage. The decapitated Hyra Falcon stood vigil on the battlefield for a few moments before it began to collapse toward the earth. As fate would have it, the mech had one more card to play in the fight as the Republic Stormcrow walked into the way of the collapsing Hyra Falcon, causing it to fall as well. The Stormcrow's cockpit smashed into the ground and killed the Republic Mechwarrior inside. Both the Falcon Guards and Malvina Hazen survived the Old Guard attack, though Krasen's body was not recoverable. His sacrifice was honored, and his Hyra Falcon was repaired and returned to duty with the new Mechwarrior. The B configuration for the Hyra Falcon takes things in another direction entirely. In what I describe as a kamikaze version, the 698 movement profile configuration is packed with 6 standard SRM-6 launchers spread across its arms and side torsos. There are 4 tons of ammunition to feed all 6 launchers, so that's 10 shots unless my public school math skills have failed me again. If you lived long enough to fire all those missiles, you're not completely helpless. The B config also has 2 ER small lasers split between the arms and an ER medium laser located in the center torso. It presents a very dangerous alpha strike damage possibility with all those SRM-6s, though it will absolutely put you into the red on the heat scale, especially if you jump that full 8 hexes to get close enough to your target. Though 72 damage worth of SRMs in one turn is rather tempting. The B configuration is another high-risk, high-reward loadout that could completely devastate and upset an enemy's plans. It could also die very quickly without contributing anything just as easily, so buyer beware. The Hyra Falcon Configuration C runs off on another tangent with its harassing sniper build. An ERPPC in the left arm is the primary damage dealer, which is backed up by a rotary AC-2 autocannon in the right arm. What you've got with the C is a very mobile backfield medium that can take some potshots with its weapons and be halfway across the battlefield a few moments later to do it again. Heat isn't too much of an issue so long as you're not hopping your full 8 hexes each turn while firing that ERPPC. I like it, I'd use it, but I'm not sure it really fits with the Jade Falcon's desire to get into the enemy's face and scratch with those 3-inch fingernails like someone fighting for a $200 plasma screen TV at 4 a.m. on Black Friday. The Hyra Falcon D is our last official configuration, and of all of them I think it's the most even-keeled of the bunch, except for the fact that it doesn't have jump jets. Now before you get angry at me, it does at least have a supercharger which pushes the movement profile up to a 612-0 when you need it. Perhaps that is at least something. As far as weapons go, we're looking at a configuration that's going to excel in the mid and short range, starting with a pair of ER medium pulse lasers split between the left and right arms. These just have a -1 on their 2 hit rolls instead of the standard -2s, but being able to hit out to 14 hexes is a fair trade-off. Backing them up in the arms are 2 ER medium lasers. Finally, 2 ATM-6 launchers split between the left and the right torso add some oomph to the short and mid ranges, while still offering the opportunity to pack longer range ammunition as well. Unfortunately, with only 2 tons dedicated to ammunition per launcher, tough choices are going to be made instead of doing an even split between all 3 types. The possible short-range Alpha Strike with high explosive ammunition and the lasers is 64, which is really good for a 45-ton battlemech. You do pay for that with a significant leap into the red on the heat gauge, though. Overall, I like the configuration D, but having that partial wing without jump jets feels a little off. It's 2.5 tons of equipment for a -3 to your heat each turn, and that really doesn't sit very well with me. Even just 1 ton of jump jets would push the movement profile to a 694 with +3 on the running thanks to the supercharger. Thankfully, it's an Omni-Mech, so you can do that if you like. And you know what? I think I will. What a pleasant and understated segue into the Mech Frog configuration. Whoever wrote this should get a pat on the back and some cookies. Oh, that's me. Joyous day. The Hyra Falcon MF configuration features all the bells and whistles, but goes with a restrained jumping capability with just 2 installed jump jets. The partial wing boosts that to a movement profile of 694. This buys us some mass for additional heat sinks, which are going to be needed. A large pulse laser in the left arm is the primary damage dealer, out to 20 hexes, which is always nice. In the right torso is standard SRM-6 pack, can pack a punch in the short range and hold a variety of fun ammunition types like Inferno rounds, depending upon your mission profile. Backing up those 2 heavy hitters in the mid and short ranges are a couple of medium pulse lasers and an ER medium laser in the left torso. Finally, an anti-missile system sits pretty in the right torso. Both the AMS and SRM ammunition bins are in the right arm along with their Omni-Mech case. The 13 double heat sinks are going to be able to keep the mech cool in most circumstances. That's 29 cooling per turn with the partial wing, versus an Alpha Strike of 27 plus 4 if you're jumping the full 4 hexes that turn. Plus 2 at the end of the turn is not too shabby. Plus 3 if your AMS kicks in that turn. Overall, I think this is a very balanced loadout that it was missing from the original list of configurations. It can still hit at good range, jump a decent distance, and packs an accurate wallop at short range. What more could you ask for from a 45-ton battlemech, right? With the future of the Jade Falcons in question, I'm a little concerned that the Hyra Falcon could be in danger of going extinct. It's a bold and aggressive design that doesn't really seem to fit well with the Mercantile League's need for battlemechs that can defend territory. If the mech does survive, it would most likely be among the GE Chistu Jade Falcons, wherever they are able to scrape together some territory. In my ideal world, hopefully they find some place off in the periphery where they can quietly rebuild. So to answer the question of why we love the Hyra Falcon, besides a good use of the partial wing to create a mobile platform of death and destruction, I'm not sure there's much more to say. It's very much a Clan Jade Falcon mech, and your opinion of it is probably going to be impacted by your thoughts of the clan itself. The Hyra Falcon is a design that reflects the time in which it was created, to fill a niche in an incredibly aggressive Tumen. And I just think it's neat. Thanks as always for watching as we talk some BattleTech. Since this is going live on Christmas, Merry Christmas to everyone who celebrates. If not, Happy Monday. Big thank you for those of you who remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons. For those of you who go the extra step to become channel members and Ko-Fi members, I owe you a debt of gratitude. You're amazing and making all of this nonsense possible. Until next time, take care and go make the world a slightly better place today and tomorrow.